regard their kings nor princes.
So because they don't care about the laws and the Constitution. When you hungry, you don't care. When you thirsty, you don't care. Well, who got this? Who got? Matter of fact, they were. If you do go back in 70 A.D., women were eating and cooking their own children. Read.
And the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Read.
And a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Executive orders. Look at it. These are executive orders. I promise you. Look at it. Look it up. Read.
For because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Read.
A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods.
Read.
Because of the lack of bread.
Because of what?
Because of the lack of bread.
Because there's a lot of bread.
Because of the lack of bread.
Read.
And for great tribulation.
You see that? Read.
Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and from Lebanon, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things they have done to them.
Them is Israel. Okay? Alright, so now we showed you that the famine is coming. Scripture says, prove all things. And I believe we have. Now I'm going to introduce you to this brother. Rapayaahla. Thank you.
Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters out there. I can't come right now to bring some kind of information dealing with, as the brothers just showed you, about what's coming. And we have a lot of clear evidence of that. I mean, you know, just watch the news, just read the paper, just matching and with these precepts and see what's going on around in the world. And we know what's coming. We know what's going down. We know what's about to go down. And also, if we look also in Second Esdras 15 and 5.
You read that? 15 and 5. Behold, says the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, the famine, death and destruction.
So before death and destruction, we know famine and the sword will be there. And with knowing that, you know, if we go back into history, we will see that famine has dealt with many lives behind famine, dealing with wars and all type of catastrophes and so forth. But with knowing that, you know, we have to, it's so very important and urgent that we try to prepare ourselves and for our families of this chaos that's coming. So with knowing that, you know, there's ways that we can go about this and just take food and try to stock up food. I mean, you know, there's a lot of different ways of just perishable foods, stock it up on canned goods and so on and so forth. But after a while, that's going to become, I'm not trying to knock that in no way, shape, or form, but you got to understand that there's burdens behind that. You know what I'm saying? You could only carry but so much. If you need to go somewhere, you know, you could only carry but so much with canned goods and foods like that. And then there is a shelf life to it. Now, what we have come to realize that there's different techniques and methods that we could go about that we can preserve our food and in case for these emergencies. And one of a very good way of doing this is food dehydration. Going back in biblical times, that's what pretty much was how things were done back in the biblical times, because we know that there wasn't no refrigerators, there wasn't even energy from electricity and anything of that nature. So what was done was they would take their foods and dehydrate them. How? They would just lay them in the sun, and the sun would just beat down on their foods, and it would carry them over until the next winter, the approaching winter. So, you know, just with little brief knowledge of that, we have come to bring you this information about a food dehydrator that you could purchase. It it varies in prices depending on what kind of brand you want and so on and so forth. But what this process, what it does, it dehydrates your food, and it preserves it in a much longer lifespan to it. And also behind that, the nutritional value of your food is not depleted as so with canned goods, okay? Because when you're ingesting canned goods, you're pretty much ingesting empty food. It's depleted of a lot of nutrition. Freeze-dried foods, it's depleted of nutrition and you know, to a certain extent. But when you're dealing with dehydrated foods, the nutritional value is still all locked right in there. And with doing this, the process, it's a very simple format. It's just the extraction of water. H2O is extracted, and that gives the life of the food and the structure of the food fiber, and it makes it last much longer. In the sense that you know, canned goods, it doesn't have that kind of benefit. So with knowing that, you know, this food, the food dehydrator, you know, it has, it's a machine, and you just stack it. It comes with certain different sizes. You just put your food on there. It could be either just straight raw food, or it could be blanched food, steamed blanched, or just boiled. You know what I'm saying? Just real quickly. Or you don't have to go through none of that. You could just some certain foods, especially like fruit,
Yeah.
you could just dehydrate it. You don't need no kind of blanching whatsoever.
Now, the question I have to ask you, how long can this food last without being refrigerated? How long can it last?
Depending on the temperature, the food could last for 20 to 30 to 40 years, depending on the temperature of how you store it.
Okay.
And after you put it through the process of dehydration, you vacuum seal it with oxygen packs that also it helps to absorb the oxygen within the bag, and it's called these Mylar bags that you pack the food in. It's food grade Mylar bags, and with these oxygen packs, you seal it.
Can these foods, can they be carried in a backpack? And did you bring anything for us today to show the people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. Well, as you know, when the most weight basically comes from water. So when you go through the dehydration process, it shrinks the food down in size, okay, and also it becomes much lighter. So when you're toting around something instead of canned goods, which is the majority of the weight is the liquid in there, the water in there, you don't have to deal with that. You have basically food that's just much lighter, and you store it, and
Oh, you brought some stuff like you say some eggs. Can you show us some of those bags? Can you grab some of that stuff and show us, and then we go to the machine that you brought here with you. And can you explain how much model food that's in these packets? How does it work? Like I said, how amount of food you have in there? How does it work? And that's a long time, to 20 to 40 years. Food that's been hydrated, I mean, even canned goods is not that don't last that long. They all have expiration dates. So you're saying that this food can last up to 20 to 40 years. That's a long time.
yes, it is. All right here you have. Let me bring it a little closer for the camera. This is a small size that fits in both of my hands, okay? And this right here, it started out approximately around 20, you see I'm holding it with just my two fingers right here. It started out at the weight of about 25 pounds. This is 25 pounds worth of kernel corn, just simple kernel corn.
Can I see that?
Okay, frozen bag of kernel corn.
That's light.
And once it goes through the dehydration process,
It's crazy, man.
it's much lighter.
That's nuts.
And again, it's 25 pounds worth of kernel corn. So all you have to do when you're ready to eat, all you got to do is just add water to it, and it will go back to its natural looking form.
Okay.
And it also will taste like as if it was very fresh.
Now, so you're saying all I have to do is take a little, this is 25 pounds, first of all. It is much lighter than, I mean, my Bible weighs more than this. So you're saying that all we have to do is pack this up stuff like this in a backpack, you know.
That will feed a lot of people right there.
This right here will feed a lot of people.
That will feed a lot of people.
How many people you think this will feed?
Depending on, I mean, depending on...
Just to sustain someone for a day, for a week, you know.
Well, 25 pounds worth of corn.
That's a lot of corn.
That's a lot of corn. You know, I mean,
This is extremely light, real light.
That will feed a lot of people, you know, in a process of a couple of days.
So I would take a piece of this out. If I want to say I'm by myself, wife, me and her, a baby, or my son, we'd take a little piece of this out, put it in some water, and what you're saying is that it'll expand back to its natural form, like a whole bunch of corn, just a little bit of it, and I'm able to eat it as I had a can or 2 cans of corn.
Absolutely.
Wow, remarkable.
And also, like right here, this was about probably like around the same, about 25 pounds of carrots. Okay, baby carrots.
Wow.
Right here.
It's crazy.
You know.
Now these carrots, if you open this, I see they look very small. Now, if you as well, if I put this in water, will it come back to its natural form? Will it blow up?
You wouldn't know the difference.
Mm.
Put it like that. You will not know the difference.
Carrots. It's crazy. How many? That's about 25 pounds of carrots?
That was about 25 pounds of carrots.
That's crazy.
This right here.
Wow.
This right here. As silly as it may sound to you, this right here is scrambled eggs.
So that's cooked eggs.
This is scrambled eggs right here, and this is about, I say about 8 dozen of scrambled eggs right here in my hand. That all you will need is a teaspoon of this. Okay, one little teaspoon, and you just add water to it. It will fluff up. Okay, just in the same portion of scrambled eggs, and approximately about 2 eggs per teaspoon. So again, this is about 8 dozen of scrambled eggs right here in its dehydrated process.
Wow.
So you know how much protein you have right here. If you know you have scrambled eggs, this is a lot of protein right here. And again, instead of carrying around eggs that you know you're gonna smash on you, or is too heavy to tote around and to have to prepare it and all of that, this is prepared already.
So these eggs would taste the same as if I just cooked them?
Absolutely. As long as they heated the way you want them, heated up, you almost wouldn't know the difference that this is dehydrated. And again, this could be 20 years old.
Woo.
And again, also the nutritional value of content that's in here is still here. Okay, the most important thing that is not destroyed is the enzymes in here, which helps the body to receive the other nutrition, the other vitamins and minerals. Okay, as long as you don't destroy the enzymes, you have not destroyed the food. And that's the main process